and Jeff on the other.
We're home, Mama, we're home.
That was the climax of last night's historic Mermaid Avenue performance. For nearly 30 years, fans have been waiting for yesterday evening's concert experience, where the lyrics of American musical legend Woody Guthrie, set to music by Billy Bragg and Wilco, would be performed at length before a live audience. And that is exactly what we, the audience, experienced here at the Solid Sound Music Festival at the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art, MassMoCA, in North Adams last night. Welcome to a special presentation of the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM. And at NEPM.org, streaming all across the globe. I'm Monte Belmonte. That grateful voice you heard thanking Billy Bragg and Wilco was of Nora Guthrie, the daughter of Woody and the instigator behind the entire Mermaid Avenue project. I think her father would have been very proud of what happened here last night, and I know the crowd was very emotional. There were many special guests last night, including, as one concert goer put it to comedian John Hodgman, quote, "Too many Guthries," including Woody's granddaughter, Sarah Lee Guthrie, Woody's great-grandchildren, and more. But there was one particularly special guest that Billy Bragg welcomed to the stage.
I'd like to bring on a dear friend of us all, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Natalie Merchant. Singing, ain't nobody who can sing like me, ain't nobody who can sing like me. Way over yonder in the minor key, way over yonder in the minor key. There ain't nobody who can sing like me. Way over yonder in the minor key.
Who only had 2 appearances on Mermaid Avenue, she certainly made a huge impact on that project, and she made an incredible impression all over the museum at the festival today, hosting a pop-up concert in the Cosmic Latte exhibit by Spencer Finch, where there are the gorgeous lights that hang from the ceiling. A star turn as a comedian in John Hodgman's Comedy Cabaret on a game show that I believe may someday replace Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me on NPR. Jordan Klepper of The Daily Show's Bleep Show, but Bleep Show is not the real name of the show. Natalie Merchant will join us on the Fabulous 413 on Monday. And we got so many emails from people listening to last night's Mermaid Avenue from all over the world that I wanted to put our email out there again to tell us where you're listening tonight to this Wilco set live from Solid Sound 2026. You can email us at thefab413@nepm.org. Here's a couple of emails that we didn't get to last night. Thanks for broadcasting these sets for those of us unable to attend. I've been to a couple Solid Sounds and saw Jeff and Nels at MassMoCA. Is Jeff wearing a Canadian tuxedo? Former Mass native, now retired in a tiny Camden, West Tennessee, halfway between Nashville and Memphis. I love Khalees's laugh. We knew each other when we both worked at the Alvin, which is making fun of the Calvin Theater. Last time we saw each other was at a spouse show in Hatfield. Gail and Greenwood Gang of 4 Bases is also formerly of L7, which I didn't even know, among others, and currently in Belly, Benny Sizzler, and Band of Their Own. Love and miss the Valley. Listening to you tomorrow, Rick LeBeau. Well, today is tomorrow, Rick LeBeau, and thank you hopefully for listening again. And no, Jeff was not wearing a Canadian tuxedo, which is denim over denim. Ed Rosny of Portland, Oregon wrote, "Thank you to all of the folks involved in providing the live stream of the Billy Bragg Wilco concert this evening. It was a very special event, and I'm grateful that I was able to experience it live. Will the performance be archived on your website for future listening?" Why, yes, it will, Ed, but only for a limited time. Check NEPM.org next week, and you'll be able to stream the Mermaid Avenue performance, but again, only for a limited time. Joey said we're listening in Eureka, California. Thanks for bringing us back to the Berkshires. Jeff Weed, cool name, native Chicagoan, and I had tickets for tonight, but my daughter is playing volleyball in the national tournament in Orlando, so I'm here cheering her on and listening from 1,000 miles away. Thanks for the stream. And Bob said he was listening from Jeff's home of Belleville, Illinois. Tell us where you're listening to Wilco from tonight at thefab413@nepm.org. That's thefab413@nepm.org. Our broadcast and stream this evening brought to you by Danko Modern, presenting a curated collection of modern and transitional furniture at locations in West Hatfield and South Windsor. DankoFurniture.com. My special guest co-host for the lead up to tonight's Wilco performance live from Solid Sound 2026 is Mark Greenberg. Mark is the studio manager and part of the production team at The Loft, Wilco's Chicago recording studio and clubhouse and headquarters. He composes and produces music for film, television, and video games through his own studio, the Mayfair Recordings Workshop. Mark and his wife, who I got to meet today, Anne-Marie, are the lucky parents to 3 talented children. A longtime contributor and advocate of art and music in Chicago, Mark was the assistant talent booker at Lounge Acts, headed the team that built the physical aspects of Art Chicago at Navy Pier, was a founding member of the Coctails, and continues to play and record with 11th Dream, among other acts. Mark joined us for the last NEPM Solid Sound broadcast and was at that time keenly aware that one Susan Miller Tweedy, wife of Wilco's Jeff Tweedy, was listening from home in Chicago, and you were somewhat coy about Jeff's guitar hoarding habits. Mark, welcome back to this broadcast.
Thank you. I didn't realize I was co-hosting. I need to talk to someone about my scale.
Okay, we'll talk to it. We are half
I was a
union
guest.
and half not union at our radio
Okay.
station. They're as problematic as it is, but we'll figure that out when the time comes. Mark, last night was special and historic. What was your take and reaction on experiencing Mermaid Avenue, sort of from behind the scenes guitar tech, more than that, producer
Well,
level?
I must say, I want to be funny about this, but seriously, feeling the joy in the audience last night was overwhelming. I know that a lot of these people have been waiting for this to happen, and we've talked about it so many times over the years for Wilco and Billy to do this together. So to keep it our own and keep it at our own festival and do it with the Guthries and do it at Mass Mocha, it was just overwhelming. It was emotionally overwhelming.
So many people talked about how emotionally overwhelming it was. You saw people physically moved and weeping in the audience.
As I was.
Yeah.
I was really, especially Nora at the end, really choked me up.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I'm glad we got to share a little bit of that at the beginning of this broadcast tonight. I was vamping yesterday because you personally told me that Wilco is so punctual. At 9:15 is when they always start, and I expected them to start at 9:15 and had a 9:15 amount of information prepared. But what happened last night that made it go on a little bit later?
There was a technical difficulty with the lighting generator. So that is not Wilco's fault.
Okay.
And trust me, those
It's a
people are going
ground
to get
fault.
fired.
Okay, good. It's a
Yes.
ground fault interrupter's fault.
Yes.
Or something. I hope they don't really get fired.
No, of course not.
Okay, that's good. Were you, Mark, part of the whole Mermaid Avenue time of Wilco? So that was it was 1997. I think the album came out in 98. But were you around that long ago with Wilco?
I was not with Wilco, but I was with Sue, Jeff's wife.
Yeah.
I was working as her booking assistant at Lounge Acts, and we would go to Sue's house every Monday and listen to as many demo tapes as we could before we started crying.
Wow.
Which sometimes was 5 or 6, but mostly about 30.
Yeah.
Every Monday we would do this, and so I was kind of there when Jeff was in and out working on these records from those days.
So how did you transition from working with Sue to doing what you do now? I like to think of it, and I think you described it last time, as like, if you've ever watched The Monkees, it's like the clubhouse that the monkeys live in, Wilco's Loft.
Very much so. And really, I still feel like I work for Sue. I feel like I'm still somehow answering to her.
Yes. If you've ever met Sue, you all feel like you're working for Sue. She is the queen of this festival. I almost got involved with a security officer to say, like, you know who this is, don't you? She can go wherever she wants.
Exactly. Yes. Well, I worked for her as long as I could, and we were starting a family and having kids, and somehow $12,000 a year wasn't going to do it. So I had to quit my job and get a different job that I worked for a few years. And then Jeff, in that time, Jeff transitioned to Wilco and had all sorts of people come and go. And he had a Mavis Staples record coming up that he was going to produce. And he was going to have Jim Scott be the engineer on it. And 24 hours before that session was to start, Jim called and said he was going along with the Dixie Chicks and couldn't make it. And so Jeff didn't know what to do because Mavis had flown in her band. It was going to happen. The record was going to happen.
Yes.
So quickly his management looked around, got Tom Schick, who had just finished a job, came in from Canada. He wanted me to be an extra pair of hands and someone that he knew. And so we all jumped on it. And that record came out and it won a Grammy. And at that point, Jeff was like, this is my team and nobody move. And shut up, everyone.
Because you are like Papa Bear the Loft to me. You're such a kind and gentle spirit. And that's why I wanted to have you back on again, because we did this last year, and now it's tradition. And Solid Sound is all about traditions, if nothing else. It does feel like an every other summer family reunion. I'll also give a shout out to my actual co-host, Khalees Smith, who is at the Triplex Cinema in Great Barrington, hosting a Q&A after a documentary about the band The Lunatics, which is very cool. So we can't be everywhere all at the same time.
Who played at the Lounge Acts.
Yeah, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So maybe you're in the documentary and you don't even know it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Who has been at the Loft since the last time we spoke at Solid Sound 2 years ago? You've been working with all sorts of acts. And is Wilco in charge of who comes through the Loft? Are you in charge of who comes through the Loft?
Jeff, it's really Jeff's place, his happy place, and when he's home, he's there every single day. He holds bankers hours and fills hard drives with songs and never comes up empty. It's kind of amazing. So Jeff is there every day, whether it's a Jeff record, whether it's a Wilco record, whatever. He just is making. He produces some bands sometimes, although he hasn't done that recently. He's been really focused on, he did a 3-record set with his family band.
Yes,
That
Twilight
takes a little
Override.
bit. Yep.
It was an override indeed.
Yes.
No, I love that album, but it's prolific is an understatement for Jeff
And that's
Tweedy.
3 down from 5. I'm not joking. He had enough to do a 5-record set.
Oh my goodness. That being said, Wilco records there as well.
Wilco records there, and there's a chance maybe they've been there recently. There's a chance maybe there's new music in the works. You never know what that turns out to be.
You think that there's a chance that maybe some of the things that Wilco has been working on in the Loft, people who are listening right now at 88.5 or nepm.org, might even hear tonight?
There's a chance maybe. Is that what you said?
Yes.
There's a chance maybe.
I think that's amazing. What differentiates you having the ear of Jeff's ear between when he's going to make a 3-album Jeff Tweedy album and decide, no, this is a Wilco song?
It's really what Jeff hears in his head. Sometimes he hears the harmonies of his family band, and sometimes he hears a place for Pat and Nels and John and Mike to, I think that sometimes these songs really could go either way, but Jeff in his mind envisions them with a certain setting.
There's a bunch of other folks who've come through the Loft, Mark Greenberg from the Loft. Anybody else that you can give us a little hint about what we might be hearing coming out from the mothership Wilco?
We had this amazing artist named Ken Pomeroy. She's a very young Native American from Tulsa, Oklahoma. She and her very young band, they're like 22. They were so good, and that was done when Wilco was on tour. Tom Schick was engineering that. We had Sasha Dobson make a record. Sasha travels the world with Nora Jones in her band, and she plays in a lot of things in New York. She's wonderful. We have had Lydia Cash, who's a local Chicago singer-songwriter, distantly related to the Cash family. That you
keep
think.
The name.
Yep. And we're also reissuing a Pop Staples record that was made in 2015. It was originally made right before Pop Staples passed away, and it was made at a time where everybody wanted to make things radio-like.
Yes.
And it was just not a very fitting setting for Pops. And so the record never came out, but on his deathbed, the story is that he gave it to Mavis and said, "Don't lose this." And so after she and Jeff had this relationship with all these records that he produced for her, she gave him the record and said, can you finish this? And a big part of it was taking everything away and leaving Pops, his guitar, and his daughters. So it was basically a Staples record.
That's amazing.
Hiding underneath something that was a little bit more shiny. So that record came out in 2015, and we're about to do a reissue of it.
I love it.
Hopefully with a little extra material.
Well, that's Mark Greenberg from The Loft, Wilco's home base in Chicago, here at Solid Sound in North Adams. We've got a couple of great listener emails of people who are listening at nepm.org, including from Supreme Court and Justice correspondent Carrie Johnson from NPR. Thank you so much, NEPM, for streaming the Mermaid Avenue shows. You're the best. Listening from D.C. while we await more Supreme Court decisions Monday. Thank you, Carrie Johnson, for covering that for NPR that we get to carry on NEPM. Before we let you go, Mark, any secret special surprise guests we may hear tonight?
Oh, yes. There's so many. No, I can't say it.
Okay.
But there are. But yes, no.
There will be.
There's some good guests
Okay.
tonight.
So you're going to have to
I
keep
can't tell
listening.
you.
Mark, thank you so much for spending time with us again. I
My
love
pleasure.
getting to be with you.
Thank you, Monte.